Hello there, this is Ben Maxwell, hi me, and Jordan.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about The Evil Within 2.
Okay, so I went to a Bethesda trip a couple of weeks ago, and I got to play about an hour of the game. It is scary, but it's also not scary because you get to go into like open world elements. So basically, we thought we'd do a little primer on Union, which is the sort of small rural town that you get to explore. It's like the open world-ish setting. First game was set in Beacon, but it was much more linear. There were like safe houses in the middle of chapters and stuff. But for this one, it's like a series of little open worlds to explore. So
how open are they?
Okay, so they are like hub areas. And the reason for this is because... Okay, this is going to get complicated. Because it's all split up, the actual terrain is split up and fragmented by a massive earthquake because it's all set in an imagination rather than the real world.
That sounds very convenient as a game design tool.
It does, doesn't it? I wonder why that would happen. So because of that, it's little hubs rather than an actual open world city or town. I've only been to the first one, which is like a residential area. It's got like a tourist information centre and a church and all that
Stuffed?
stuff.
Or
No, not even zombie staffed.
Oh.
Which was disappointing. But
brochures?
Yeah, not that I got to leaf through, but there were some interesting files left out on a desk, which really didn't have anything to do with what should have been a tourist place. But anyway, yeah. So it's like a small open world level, like not grand in any way, like size. But the reason it feels quite big is because getting through it involves lots of stealth and lots of slow killing and bits like that. But yeah, they're hubs, and in each of these areas there's a few quest markers and lots of places to explore.
So are you in danger at all in these places?
Yes.
Okay.
These are basically their own levels. I mean,
Right.
Instead of it being like a linear level, they are open, in the... So this one was set down a main street. So there are a lot of buildings you could go in. There was some verticality. You could go up ladders and stuff. You could also sort of go through alleyways and cut like shortcuts. But yeah, you're in danger. There's lots of zombies and stuff lurking around, and there's some groups and then some just on their own in alleyways. But there are also safe houses.
Ooh.
So the first game had
Stuffed?
there was a guy in this one,
Excellent.
a nice friendly man.
Yes.
And some zombies who weren't friendly. I'm going to call them zombies. I don't know what the correct term is, but they look pretty zombie-ish, and they shuffle around and gargle and do all that stuff. Yeah, like babies.
Or me when I get into the office.
Yeah, just like Ben when he gets in the office.
Prior to, and this is quite relevant, my first coffee, which you can get in these safe houses, right?
Yeah, okay, so the safe houses in the first game were in the middle of the chapters, whereas these seem to be they're sort of the entry point to each hub. So for this one, I followed some army bloke into a house, and basically he had this nice little den. There's some coffee. The coffee heals you completely, which is I'm not sure if that's how it works in real life.
Works for me.
Yeah, there's like a coffee station for full health refills. You can talk to the guy and find out a bit of story. There's workbenches, which comes into play with the crafting elements.
What's the crafting like? Is this sort of...
It's quite basic. Like, you can collect resources which you turn into, like, bullets. It's mostly, like, for bullet building. You can get weapon parts. So I found some weapon parts for a sniper rifle, which suggests you can craft weapons later on. I'm not sure exactly how full on it goes, but it seems very much like maintenance work, like keeping up your stocks of ammo and things like that. But the workbenches, you can do all this on the fly, but the workbenches mean you don't get like penalties to how much resources things use up. And there's also portals to Sebastian's room, which is, it's like so in the safe house I went to, O'Neill's safe house, it was a mirror which transported me into like his old police office.
Right.
And then within there, so there's a bunch of stuff to do in there. You can find like, extra bits of story. You can keep track of like the main bad guys in the plot, and also there's a photographic slide. You can look through like any photographic bits you find. But within that, there's also another portal to a psychiatric ward, which if you play the first game, you'll recognise as the place you go to get upgrades, I believe. And it's the same here. You sit in a chair. Lots of needles go into your face and head, and you get better as a human. which we can all relate to.
Gosh. Yeah.
But that's pretty much what you've got going on at the safe houses.
Okay, so in order to get to that upgrade room, you always have to find a safe house and go through one portal and then another portal.
Yeah.
That's inconvenient.
It's incredibly inconvenient. I can see a lot of people getting very frustrated with it. Like, it's neat the first time you do it because it's spooky, and Claire de Lune plays when you get into the nice psychiatric ward, which is always pleasant and refreshing and nice bit of calm amidst all the zombie killing. But it takes time. It takes a lot of time to get through all these sort of portals. Like, I only returned from the upgrade room, did a little bit of sort of exploring within Sebastian's room, then realised I had enough resources to do an upgrade, went back to do the upgrade, and like all of that must have taken 2-3 minutes, which it's a lot of time to take out.
That's quite hefty.
I don't know how it will feel maybe if you spend more time out in the open world, killing things and getting chased and generally having a horrible time. Maybe it'll be a nice bit of respite, so maybe that pacing sort of evens out a bit more. Hard to say.
So, Laura, in terms of then exploring these open world hubs, is it a mess of quest markers and things on screen, or are you just left to your own devices? Or?
So you are left to your own devices. There's nothing on screen. It's actually handled quite tactfully. You have a communicator, which is both a radio to the real world to talk to Kidman, and also it sort of points out these resonance points, which are basically quest markers, and they'll tell you where interesting things are and where your main objective is. So in this case, it was like a weird scream from the void, which was pointing out where my daughter might be, because that's like the whole plot, is you're going in to find your daughter. I completely ignored it, to be honest, and instead went around killing some zombies, and I went up a ladder because I thought, well, it wouldn't be cool if there's a sniper nest up here. There was a sniper rifle, but it was broken, so I needed to find some parts for it. There are smaller blips as well around the map that sort of point you towards maybe smaller things, like I didn't see what any of the other quests might have been, but some pointed at buildings, like there was a church, and others pointed at the reason I got to the sniper nest was because something was pointing up there. So it seems like a more a cleverer way of sort of handling quest markers within the game's narrative.
Okay, and so what else is there to do then in these spaces?
So there's all the buildings to look through, and there's also all the zombies to kill. I'm not sure if you can actually completely clear areas. Certainly whenever I killed something, it didn't come back, or there wasn't that kind of issue. It would take a long time, I think, to properly clear the areas, but the buildings themselves seem completely open. You can go in almost every room, and there was about 10 or 15 in the whole area. So in general, it's just exploration, which you'll want to do because you want to find resources and you want to keep your stocks of ammo. And also, the more zombies you kill, you get green gel, which is what you use to upgrade. So sort of the longer time you spend sort of milling about and sort of doing these open world elements, the better you'll be when you go to the main quest stuff and the meatier part of the game where you're really killing things and there's bosses and all that stuff.
So you said before in the intro that it wasn't quite so scary in these areas. Do you think then that the kind of familiarity of the a space that you continually zip around and see the same places has a detrimental effect on the horror game? Or
I think it certainly gets less scary in these areas because you can see way ahead of you. There's none of the sort of jump scare nonsense or loud bang because you don't know what's around the corner. Like, to parallel it to the bit that preceded it, where I was being chased through a hallway by this massive multi-limbed lady with a chainsaw and 7 faces, which was really scary.
It sounds it.
Yeah. There's none of that. It's a much sort of calmer, methodical play style. But I can see you getting through those areas in like a couple of hours, and then in between, I'm sure there is more of that linear stuff that really makes it Mikami horror, survival horror style stuff. And also presumably between these areas, the enemies change and you get new horrors to deal with. So okay. I think the horror will be there. Maybe this area was a bit more plain because it was just standard zombie style enemies.
Sure, just standard zombies.
Yeah, they they turn around kind of erratically is about as scary as it gets. So you don't fully know if they're going to just randomly turn while you're sneaking up on them. But yeah.
Well, I would be very careful next time I approach you in the office.
Exactly. I'm well trained.
Yeah. Okay, so it sounds intriguing. It sounds really good. I look forward to seeing some more. Okay, that's everything for now. If you liked this video, remember to like, subscribe, and ding the stupid bell thing, because it helps us.
It does.
And we'll see you next time. Miss you already. Bye.
Bye.